Israel's daring daylight raid to get them out of Gaza. President Biden this morning in Paris.
Welcoming the safe rescue of 4 hostages that were returned to their families in Israel. We won't stop working until all the hostages come home and a ceasefire is reached. That is essential.
The BBC's John Donison is in Jerusalem with more on possible talks to get the rest of them home.
The IDF chief spokesperson, who was saying that he believed that a deal was still the best way to get a large number of hostages out, but a deal doesn't look to be in the offing at the moment. I mean, we've got these ceasefire talks ongoing, but they don't seem to be going anywhere, taking place in Cairo at the moment.
A U.S. official tells CBS News the U.S. provided intelligence support for the raid, which also killed nearly 100 Palestinians. Hamas claims the number was twice as much. The sizzling summer-like heat has come much earlier than usual this year. Texas A&M atmospheric science professor Andrew Dressler says human-induced climate change will only make it worse.
In 10 or 20 years, people are going to look back on this and they're going to say, I can't believe how cool it was. I wish it were that cool again, because the warming from climate change is just inexorable. As long as we're dumping carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, it's going to keep getting warmer. And so it's just going to be this on steroids in the future.
Retired astronaut Bill Anders is being remembered as an American hero and then some. The man who was part of the first crew to circle the moon has died after crashing a small plane off the coast of Washington State. Anders flew aboard Apollo 8 with Frank Borman and Jim Lovell on Christmas Eve 1968. And he and Lovell told us the story of that iconic Earthrise picture he shot.
The first Earthrise picture was taken by Frank Borman, but that was a black and white picture. And the picture that was commemorated on the stamp and has been the picture of popularity was one I took. Had to fight the camera from Lovell.
I concur.
Bill Anders was 90. The people who deliver your takeout food are being called out for putting others in danger. We get more of that from CBS's Stacey Lynn.
Food delivery drivers are out on scooters, motorcycles, and mopeds, running red lights and driving on sidewalks, posing a danger to pedestrians. This week, Boston sent a letter to several food delivery companies warning of a crackdown. In New York City, officials have confiscated about 13,000 unregistered delivery bikes. And in Washington, D.C., officials launched a program to enforce speed limits for motorized two-wheeled delivery vehicles.
This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.com.
A healthy weight, more energy, and smooth, regular bowel movements. 3 things everyone strives for.
It's me, Chuck Norris. There's one really important thing we don't talk about enough: our health. Achy joints, digestive issues, weight gain, and fatigue. We're told these are normal signs of aging. So working with a team of health experts, we came up with Morning Kick.
Morning Kick is a revolutionary formula combining 10 different supplements in one. Probiotics that help you lose weight, prebiotics for digestion, superfoods for muscles and joints, and several of the most powerful anti-aging supplements on earth. It'll help you feel youthful, energized, focused, and help manage stress.
Anybody can achieve great health regardless of their age.
Go to roundhouseprovisions.com. Use code SAVE or text SAVE to 511-511 and claim 40% off today.
Every purchase comes with our 90-day money-back guarantee.
Text SAVE to 511-511. Morning Kick. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Tax fees may apply.
He saw the future 75 years ago.
George Orwell's 1984 emerged right after World War II, a dystopian and cautionary tale of totalitarianism.
In 1949, George Orwell had a vision of the future.
A major film was released in 1984, bringing the nightmare to the big screen.
This is news of the gravest national consequence concerning the war with Eurasia.
The book has been critically acclaimed, banned in some places, and it's estimated more than 30 million copies have been sold worldwide. Steve Kathan, CBS News.
The Home Alone home is for sale. More than $5 million, 5 bedrooms, 6 bathrooms, more than 9,000 square feet in Winnetka, Illinois. It's long since been repaired after young Kevin McAllister defeated the Wet Bandits in the movie. If the buyer wants to watch Home Alone there, the house also has a big home theater. Peter King, CBS News.
Financial Group. You may have seen me on TV or heard me on the radio exposing the ugly truth about the timeshare industry and how since 2011 we've been on a mission to help families get rid of their bad timeshares. Over the past 12 years, I've seen many timeshare exit companies come and go. Copycats that overpromise yet never deliver, causing damage to folks that have already been hurt by the timeshare companies. At Wesley, we're passionate about standing up for timeshare who've been done wrong. There's a reason over 40,000 families are now timeshare free, and that reason is us. If you're stuck in a timeshare and want out, experience counts. I guarantee if we take you as a client, we'll cancel your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call now for your free timeshare exit info kit. 800-989-1771. That's 800-989-1771. 800-989-1771.
Broadcasting live from the palatial studios of KOKC in Oklahoma City, it's McRoof Talks Insurance. I'm Rick Allen Lippert, here with restoration specialist and Hall of Fame remodeler Scott McCollum.
Good afternoon, sir.
Scotty McCollum has the day off, but will return next week, as well as will running man Eric Yandel. Today's wizard on the other side of the glass is Jacob.
Hey, guys, I'm back. Glad to have you, buddy.
Jacob will answer your calls to 405-478-1520. And we're live streaming the show today on the McRoof Talks Insurance YouTube channel. Scott's waving at you right now, as a matter of fact. You can also hear us anywhere in the U.S. of A. on iHeartRadio. Just search for KOKC. Act 1 of the show today will start as usual with our trivia question and other interesting tidbits, including the word of the week. That number again to guess the trivia question or to just ask a question is 405-478-1520. Act 2 today will explore why credentials matter when it comes to your roof, and we'll hear an interesting comment about McRoof from a leading insurance company. Coming back from breaks, we'll have some really obscure historical trivia. Then in Act 3, we'll have our After the Storm tip brought to you by RiffRx, and wrap up with Dad's Wisdom brought to you by Energy Q.
I'm tired already.
Yeah, the lawyer says I have to tell you that S&CM LLC, doing business as McRoof.US, legally operates under Oklahoma registration number 8000002, and that the registration applies to both residential and commercial roofing.
Very good.
All right.
Rick,
so,
what do you have for the winner of our trivia question this week?
The winner of our trivia question will get 2 free tickets to the remaining Carpenter Square Theater show in this season. There is the final performance of a show tonight, and then there is the last play opens at the end of the month and runs for 4 weeks. And that one is very interesting. It's a comedy called Lifespan of a Fact about the relevance of truth in journalism. How important really is the truth when it comes to journalism?
That might be a timely little play on the part of your little
and
theater
it's based on a real event that happened almost 20 years ago, as a matter of fact. There was a book written about it and then a play, and we're doing the play, and it's quite interesting.
Say it again. The
lifespan
of a fact. Okay.
So, in short order, an essayist has written a 15-page essay. The fact checker has 138 pages of documentation.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Okay, so our trivia question. Go ahead, Scott.
Okay. What are 2 items ordinance of law coverage might pay for on your insurance claim? We're talking about let's say this is a residential roof. You have an insurance claim, you have ordinance of law coverage, code coverage in layman's terms. What are 2 items that might be paid by that coverage?
So if you think you know what...
There are 6 or 8, but I want you to just give us 2 and you'll be a ding, 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 dinger.
And if you think you know what 2 of those are, give us a call, 405-478-1520. Okay. The word of the week.
All right. Word of the week this week is depreciation. Depreciation. This is the sum that the insurance company is going to subtract or deduct from your replacement cost value when determining your actual cash value payment.
So, as I recall, in homeowners policies, the two general types of coverage are what you said,
not just homeowners. That's going to apply in a commercial policy as well.
Actual cash value versus replacement cost value.
Right. So,
and we really always want replacement cost.
You want to have replacement cost if you're eligible for it. As we've talked, a lot of the companies now, if your roof has quote unquote aged out, it's beyond 10 years old, then they're going to change your roof covering to typically an actual cash value. There are exceptions to that. There are people who can still buy replacement costs beyond 10 years on a roof. But generally speaking, the industry is going to age that roof out, change your policy from RCV, replacement cost value, to ACV, actual cash value, once that roof is beyond 10 years old. This is the reason we say when you get your insurance policy renewal, you have got to look at it and understand the differences. We had a call just this week from a good friend.
Okay.
Who, now they need a roof, and by the way, we slipped up and didn't pay any attention to the fact that our coverage changed to actual cash value. So now they will have this depreciation as part of their out-of-pocket expense because it will not be recoverable for them. Okay, if you have an RCV policy and you have an RCV roof, in other words, there's no limitations or exclusions that the insurance company has put on there, then you will recover that recoverable depreciation, that amount that was deducted. You'll recover that when all the work is done and the paperwork is filed showing, it's called an affidavit of completion. The insurance company knows that the work was done. We submit photographs and documentation and things like that. Then that other check will come with that quote-unquote recoverable depreciation.
Okay.
So depreciation reduces the amount of money you were paid when they write that first check, actual cash value, and it is supposed to be an incentive to you to actually do the work and repair the property.
Okay. So it looks like we have a caller on the line, and Scott,
if it's Benny, we need to hang up.
No,
because that's not fair.
Actually, Scott, our caller's name is Scott.
Oh, okay.
Hello, Scott.
Hello. I should probably spell mine differently. I spell it with one T.
Oh, you do spell yours differently. Well, we're all different for some reason, right?
And you'll be happy to know that Jacob just took off one T on the computer screen for me. So I know that makes you feel better.
How are you doing today, Scott?
Not too bad.
Good.
Years ago, I we had a strong wind come through, straight line wind come through, damaged our roof and our gutters and everything else. We went through our bank or our insurance company and got a settlement, and we employed a roofer that never took the deposit, never came out and finished.
Oh my gosh.
So I got $10,000 that's floating out there. This roofer now has shut down their LLC and started up another one.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so I'm not sure where to go from here, whether to go to the roofing association or where.
Well, let me just start asking questions, okay? Sure. How old is this claim? How far in the distant past are we talking?
It's 2 years now.
Okay, has there been any communication between you and the insurance company about the problems that you were having with the contractor and the reasons that you have not been able to complete that work?
Yes, I contacted them about 3 or 4 months ago. They said because I went with my own contractor as opposed to one that they recommended, there wasn't much that they could do. They paid straight to me, and I paid the roofer.
Okay. I'm going to tell you that right there is making hair stand up on the back of my neck, and bells and whistles are going off. I don't think that sounds like an appropriate response, because that makes it sound like that if you had used one of their, for lack of a better term, one of their pet contractors, that they would have been able to have helped you out some. I'm not going to ask you to tell me who the insurance company is. Do you know what the policy provision says about recovering your depreciation? There's a period of time that is clearly stated in your policy on your claim summary about there's a period of time that's stated in your policy about when you have to notify them. There's a period of time that's stated about your ability to recover the depreciation that is clearly written on your claim summary. Do you know what that says?
I do not. I would have to research that.
Okay. There are companies in Oklahoma that period of time is as short as 180 days. But there are many, many other companies in Oklahoma where that period of time is 2 full years from, it depends, from either the date of loss or the date that you received the first claim summary that they wrote for you. Okay.
Gotcha.
So we really need to know some of these particulars in order to kind of know where you stand, and if in fact you still have the ability to go back to the insurance company and recover this depreciation at some future point when the work does get done. Now, as far as the contractor goes, that's a whole different situation. Okay. I will tell you that you can, because it involves insurance and insurance proceeds, it is something that you could go on record with the insurance commissioner, the Oklahoma Department of Insurance, or Oklahoma Insurance Department, on this particular thing. See if their investigators can help you out to some degree, maybe provide some leverage. They may want to refer that to someone from a legal standpoint. You can also file a complaint with the CIB, the Construction Industries Board. There is on their website, if you'll just go in and put CIB/roofers.
I've been there.
When the page comes up, it will actually have on the left-hand banner, I believe, it has file a complaint. Okay.
Gotcha.
Now, I will tell you that one of my big issues and one of the problems that we have is that the legislation that created the Roofer Registration Act and empowered the Construction Industries Board to do certain things did not grant them a lot of enforcement authority. Okay.
Gotcha.
So there's a disconnect in my mind between the Construction Industries Board ability to do this work on behalf of consumers and what the legislation says, and the disconnect really comes in the area of law, and it has to do in a lot of cases where district attorneys just don't want to get involved in this kind of thing. So I tell you what, this is very interesting to me. It's a sad story. It's something I hear way too often. Why don't you take my personal cell phone number down? You have the ability to do that now?
Sure.
Okay. It's 405-600-5587. 600-5587. My email's real easy. It's Scott with 2 T's at McRoof.us. If you will get back in touch with me, Scott, either via email, text message, or phone call over the weekend, first of the week, I'd like to really get to the bottom of this for you and make sure that I counsel you to the best of my ability with all of my years of experience in dealing with these kinds of things.
That would be great. One of the things that I found on the construction board was that he had been registered and let his registration expire and started a new one with the new LLC.
Well, there's probably, there's pretty muddy waters no matter where we go with this thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's just try to you pull your claim summary out. You get some information that's going to be able to give me some definitive dates and times and things like that, and then we'll start going from there. And I'll counsel you through this. I think there are some places, certainly some work could be done with the insurance company as pertains to your ability to ultimately collect that depreciation. And then there's some places that you need to go with this issue with the roofing contractor.
Gotcha.
Particularly if they've shut down one company and immediately started another one. Now there's lots of ways around that. They could have done it under a different name. They could have different ownership, a different representative on the paperwork with the Construction Industries Board. There's lots of things we would need to look into, okay?
Yeah, absolutely. Luckily, the guy that did it, he's the owner on both of those LLCs.
Okay, if that's the way it shows up, that's going to be a real issue for him.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay. Well,
Get back in touch with me, Scott. I'd love to help you out on this.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Hey, folks, the trivia question still hanging out there. What are two items of ordinance of law coverage that two items that ordinance of law coverage might pay for on your insurance claim? If you think you know what it is, 405-478-1520. You're listening to McRoof Talks Insurance. We'll be back with Act 2 in just...
Yeah, don't make me call Ben and ask him to give us the answer now. Come on. I'm Scott McCollum, and I am McRoof. Don't let that big out-of-pocket expense on your roof claim stand between you and the new roof that you want and need. I'll finance your deductible, non-recoverable depreciation, or your upgrades over 12 to 24 months. No third-party financing, no hassle, in-house financing by McRoof. Call Carly today at 855-766-3405 for details. McRoof.us, where every replacement is a replacement done right.
Homer Stacy was a wholesome, good American kid from Texas. At the age of 18, he enlisted in the United States Army and was stationed at Fort Bliss, Texas. Homer was fascinated with aircraft, so he went to flight school and became an Army Air Corps pilot. Homer Stacy was the pilot of a Convair B-24 Liberator, the Yankee Doodle Dandy. November 11, 1943, Homer and his crew, along with 31 other bombers, flew a mission to destroy a ball bearing plant in occupied France. On the return trip, a mechanical failure caused the plane to drop out of formation, leaving the Yankee Doodle Dandy vulnerable, and shortly thereafter, 7 German Me-109 shot the plane down near Andano, Italy. 4 crew members were killed on board. The others parachuted. 1 was captured and taken prisoner. Homer was among the remaining 5 who made it to Switzerland and returned to duty. Homer Stacy survived World War II, the Korean War, and retired after 21 years of service with numerous awards and citations, not to mention the Purple Heart. Homer Stacy. Homer Stacy McCollum. Scott McCollum's dad. Scott McCollum is McRoof. McRoof is owned and operated by the McCollum family, an honorable, trustworthy red, white, and blue family. If you want to improve or repair your property, call 855-766-3405. Ask for a no-cost roof assessment and home inspection. That's McRoof, 855-766-3405. That's McRoof.
Folks, RoofRx is my inspect, repair, and maintain company. RoofRx, 405-877-7663. After the weather that we've had this spring, with the heat starting to come and build, we'll have those thunderstorms. You'll start to have more and more granule loss from those hail impacts during the spring. Everyone in our area needs to have a qualified roof inspection by one of my certified, credentialed inspectors. Give us a call today at 405-877-7663 and schedule your appointment for a future date. We're already scheduling appointments well into July, and yours can go on the list tomorrow. Give Carly a call, 405-877-7663.
And McRoof Talks Insurance back on the air for Act 2 of today's show. I'm Rick Allen Lippert. He's Restoration Specialist and Hall of Fame Remodeler Scott McCollum. on this date in 1786, just in time for summer, the first commercially made ice cream went on sale, was first advertised in New York City. Yum, yum, yum. I'm sure it was vanilla. And then 3 years later, you think about how long ago that was. But 3 years later, 1789, founding father James Madison introduced a proposed Bill of Rights in the U.S. House of Representatives. Thank goodness for James Madison. And then, it's not really Christmas in June, but on this date in 1942, Bing Crosby recorded 1942. That's when he recorded that, and so I'm sure that was a big hit that Christmas. All right, so Scott, we have a lot to cover on here. You mentioned the weather just in your spot there. This is going to be, I think, the hottest day of the year so far. Today in the mid-90s. It's already a scorcher out there. And this makes me always thank the Lord for Willis Carrier.
Yes, sir.
The inventor of air conditioning.
So talking about the heat, and I told you we've talked about this for the last month or so, couple of months. We know what's coming.
Yeah.
And so we're starting, every week we're starting to get those calls from people now about how hot their attic is, and calls for energy Q estimates and things like that, and people want to know, now, does this energy Q stuff, does it really work? Does it really do what you say it does, and that kind of thing? So yeah, I tell you, we talk about it all the time. There are a lot of things that people can do. If you don't have to replace your roof right now, there are still things that you can do that are very, very simple, common sense, generally don't cost a whole lot of money to make your attic more comfortable than it is right now. Okay? And that's where we talk about getting our inspectors out to take a look and see what's going on. One of the things that they're going to look at is they're going to look at your ventilation. Okay? And they're not just going to look at the applied ventilation on your roof. They're going to look at what is required, prescriptive, what you need to have on your roof, and they're going to do the calculations on your intake ventilation as well. We find people all the time that don't have any intake ventilation.
I'm not surprised.
We find people who have intake ventilation that somebody's come in and blown 10 inches of insulation and filled up all the soffits with insulation, so they have no ventilation even though they have vents all around their house and think they have it.
Yeah.
We have people who have the wrong ventilation. Okay, and then we have people who have, this is the funny one, where we have people that have 4 or 5 different kinds of ventilation in a common attic area, which is just the most ridiculous thing that I've ever heard of. Talk about somebody who doesn't have the most basic understanding of ventilation concepts, and unfortunately, that's the majority of our roofing industry. Most of our roofing industry, and I'm not just talking out of school. Most of our roofing industry, and I'll stand behind this because I can go to the job that they just finished yesterday and show you everything they did wrong with your ventilation.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Ventilation is, if you can't put radiant barrier on right now because you're not replacing a roof, you can still address your ventilation. You can still make sure that your roof is properly ventilated. It's not going to reduce or reverse the damage that's already been done by your shingles baking for however many years your roof's been on, but it will stop it at that point. It won't continue to get worse. Okay?
Yeah.
So, anyway.
Our trivia question is still hanging out there. What are 2 items ordinance of law coverage might pay for on your insurance claim?
And I jotted down, just not even thinking about it, I jotted down 8.
Oh,
so for you guys to come up with 2 of them, come on now, you can do this.
Now, and like Scott mentioned early on, ordinance of law is basically bringing your roof up to code. There really are building codes that most municipalities have when it comes to making sure your roof meets
there are building
standards.
codes which are minimum standards which do not get enforced first, and that most contractors don't really care whether they build your roof in compliance with that or not. Okay,
But as I understand, if you don't meet code and your roof fails in some way, the insurance company has grounds to deny a claim, right?
I don't know about that.
Okay.
Rick. I've never seen a situation where an insurance company said, "Oh, you didn't do such and such. We're not going to pay for this." I've never seen that. Now, the party that does have the right to deny coverage or replacement or payment for is the manufacturer.
Okay.
In the event that you have a manufacturer's defect and they come out and you have done any number of things either incorrectly or not as prescribed by that manufacturer. The number one reason that manufacturers can get off the hook on an asphalt shingle claim, number one, back to things we were just talking about, is because the asphalt shingle installers generally have either very, very poor, limited knowledge or understanding of ventilation. Okay? If a manufacturer sends someone out to evaluate your roof and they determine that your roof is not properly ventilated, that gives the manufacturer grounds for denying any warranty claim that would result.
Okay.
So anyway.
405-478-1520. If you think you know what are just two of the many items that ordinance of law coverage might pay on your insurance claim.
Yeah.
And speaking of ordinance of law, you sent me a note that just simply said $40.
Why did I do that, Rick?
$40.
So, you know,
ordinance of law is typically a rider on an insurance policy, right?
There you go. So we go out. I think we told you this story last week. Scotty and I went out to one of my old clients, hadn't seen in 12, 15 years, and she's got hail damage on her roof now, needs a new roof. And her roof's not in bad shape, but it easily would be justified to be replaced by the insurance company.
Okay.
So we started asking her about her insurance policy, and found out that she did not have ordinance of law coverage. Well, she needs a redeck, okay, which on her home is going to cost $5,000 or $6,000. Okay. So rather than being worried about selling her a roof with our values and coming from the standpoint of what is in her best interest, Scotty and I counseled her. I want you to go in right now. I want you to call your agent. I want you to determine if you are eligible to add the coverage to your policy, and if you are, I want you to add it today.
And that way she has it covered when the next hail event comes through.
Can't use one of the previous storm dates that we've had this spring or into last year that would have applied to her house. We will have to wait for there to be a subsequent date to when she added that coverage. She added the coverage, folks, $40. $40.
And that $40 will save her $5,000 or $6,000 in the future.
Exactly.
Sounds like a pretty good deal to me.
Well, it's kind of like, we talk about this. We talked about this. Just told you, good friends, fairly expensive home.
Yeah.
Just didn't think about it and just threw that renewal policy in a desk drawer. Just like I always tell people, do not do that. You've got to look at your insurance renewals, particularly homeowners, but commercial people should be doing this too. Deductibles are getting increased. Okay? There's all kinds of exclusionary endorsements are going on policies. We talked last week about the metal marring and different things like that.
Right.
Policies are going from replacement cost coverage to actual cash value coverage. Some companies are sliding in that roof payment schedule that we talked a little bit about. Okay,
which sounds so innocent.
There's lots of ways that, and my point, and I've tried to beat this drum as loudly as I can. I think when the insurance companies modify or change I think when they take coverage away from you, or they increase an out-of-pocket expense to you either through a deductible, a roof payment schedule, non-recoverable depreciation, any kind of exclusions, I think they should have to tell you that.
I think so too.
I think they should have to tell you that in black and white, layman's terms, English language, Spanish, whatever. They should have to tell you that.
That would require the legislature to do something.
That would require, I believe, the legislature, certainly OID. And we've had this conversation for 15 years since I've been in Oklahoma now, and I've been told all the reasons why that will not happen. So anyway, so what's the old adage? Buyer beware.
Buyer beware.
Okay.
You also sent me a note this week about a comment from a leading insurance company that they made to your lovely wife, Saint Wanda.
Well, we're talking about attitudes, okay? And in this particular case, I am going to go ahead and use the name,
okay?
Because a lot of people, not only our clients, but a lot of people in our area fall into this particular category and will understand what I'm saying, okay? And I'm talking about our military personnel and our veterans and all of their families and dependents and folks like that. So I've already given it away. I'm talking about the insurance company USAA. And USAA made Wanda made the comment to me. They are the only company that every time I'm going to get off the phone with one of their representatives, thanks me for our work at McRoof in helping them to serve their member.
That's very nice.
The only company that does that.
So
recognizes what I'm saying is, I'm trying to put this in terms that are about relationship, okay? And I don't believe that that's the approach or the attitude that is displayed by most insurance companies toward their insureds.
That's too bad.
And it's like we've said before, when Scotty or I are out on a job and there's an adjuster there representing an insurance company, our attitude is that adjuster and we, McRoof, have a job to do. And that job is to do right by our mutual client. Okay?
Okay.
The insurance company says that's their insured. Well, it's their insured, but it's my client. Okay? And we're in this together. And our objective is when there's no, this isn't gray. You know, I mean, there are nuances, but it's generally black and white. Either the damage is there, it's sudden and accidental, it's storm-related, or no, it's not. It's wear, tear, and deterioration. It's happened over a long period of time, and we're not. We should be able to agree on all those things.
Right.
Okay. It's not hard. Okay. It's not rocket science. I wouldn't be doing it if it was. So anyway.
The trivia question still out there. If you think you know, 405-478-1520. What are 2 items ordinance of law coverage might pay for on your insurance claim?
Man, we just gave you the biggie.
Yeah,
that's the biggest one. So we've given you one. So now you're really only looking for one more.
One other little thing. So 405-478.
And we talked about it earlier in the show
1520.
too.
So in the minute and a half we have before going to break, how important are credentials to a roofer?
Oh my gosh. Let me just say it this way, and this is the simplest way that I can explain this to anyone who will listen. Credentials drive warranties, okay? Warranties drive systems or quality, okay? So only the most highly credentialed contractors can offer the greatest level of enhanced warranties on products. When we offer those warranties, those enhanced warranties on products, whether we're talking residential or commercial, a system is dictated by which that product has to be installed in a certain way in order to qualify for those enhanced warranties. Make it real simple for you. On the commercial side, you want a 25-year no dollar limit warranty where the manufacturer stands behind that $1 million roof no matter what. Okay? They are going to write a specification for the strictest installation and product application details that they can possibly write. Okay? Credentials drive warranties. Warranties drive systems.
Okay.
And that's where value is in any roof, residential or commercial.
And shame on me for bringing that up with a minute and a half to go. We'll revisit this more in Act 3 of today's show. I want to remind you that you're listening to McRoof Talks Insurance on KOKC, AM 1520, FM 95.3. I'm Rick Allen Lippert. He's restoration specialist and Hall of Fame remodeler Scott McCollum, the guy who knows what he's talking about. We have Tammy on the line. I bet Tammy's going to give us a shot at the trivia question. If she gets it wrong, call 405-478-1520. We'll be back in a flash.
I'm Scott McCollum, and I am McRoof. McRoof and CertainTeed are the team you need on your roof. CertainTeed's impact-resistant lineup is unbeatable. Northgate ClimateFlex, Presidential Shake, or the slate look of Belmont IR, or the King of Shingles, Grand Manor. Call Carly today at 855-766-3405 or go to McRoof.us. McRoof.us, where every replacement is a replacement done right.
Honoring America's Warriors is an Oklahoma-based 501c3 nonprofit that is committed to honoring our heroes and healing our warriors. Honoring America's Warriors provides teams of disabled combat veterans in service dress uniform to augment military honors for our brave that have served our country. Honoring America's Warriors also provides outdoor activities to get our returning veterans peer-to-peer with other veterans in a non-medical environment. To learn more or to donate, go to honoringamericaswarriors.org today.
Folks, we just talked about that attic and that heat that's coming this summer. So if you need to do something about that, you need to get one of my folks out there to do an inspection on your ventilation and to give you a proposal for Energy Q. Energy Q is our 5-layer foil. This is a NASA spin-off technology. Comes from the space program. We can install this product direct on your rooftop, underneath your underlayment, and before we install your shingles if you're doing a re-roof. If you're not doing a re-roof, we can install it as a drape hung from the rafters in your attic, or we can install it as a blanket on top of the insulation across your attic floor. Energy Q radiant barrier will keep 98% of the radiant energy from ever entering your attic. Keep that attic temperature down, because you know what my old buddy always says, Scott, we're always trying to make ice cream in a furnace, and that's exactly what we do with our AC units in a hot attic in Oklahoma. Give us a call today. Carly will help you out. 405-877-7663. Schedule your Energy Q inspection and estimate today.
And McRoof Talks Insurance back on the air for Act 3 of today's show. On this date in 1949, George Orwell's seminal novel 1984 was published. He set it way in the future, and he just transposed. He wrote it in 1948, so he just transposed 48 to 84 and set his fictional totalitarian government in 1984. On this date in 1969, the Smothers Brothers Comedy Hour aired for the last time, and 1 year earlier than that, on this date in 1968, the Rolling Stones released Jumpin' Jack Flash. And then a year later on this date, guitarist Brian Jones was asked to leave the Rolling Stones and replaced by Mick Taylor. So you're going to have a new trivia after last night. One of these Saturdays is going to be an anniversary of Pat Sajak saying goodbye.
Sure will
last
be,
night.
yeah.
So
Yeah, it sure will be. Okay, so Tammy, you've been waiting. You waited through the break. Thank you so much. Or do you want to take a shot at the trivia question?
I don't have an answer.
Okay. Well, what can we help you with, Tammy?
So I have a question about my roof.
Okay.
I just recently had my roof replaced, and my roofer, my original contract says that, my deductible was $6,000.
Uh-huh.
And he said, I can do your roof. I said, I don't have $6,000 in the bank just laying around. And so he said, just give me $2,000, and all insurance proceeds. That's what the original contract says.
Okay.
So all insurance proceeds. So he's asking for the insurance that they gave me for the my shed damage, the hail damage on my shed, and the hail damage to my screen.
Right.
He's wanting that as well.
Right.
Is that do I have to pay him that? That's my question. It's a little over $1,800.
Well, Tammy, I'm just gonna, without going down too deep of a rat's hole here, and just cut to the chase on this. The number one, what the contractor proposed to you is against the law. The fact that no contractor can legally pay your deductible, nor can you not pay your deductible to a contractor legally. Okay, so that's as much as I'm going to say about that. The way that he wrote the contract is again a violation. He is entitled, the way he wrote the contract, he's entitled to every penny you get, whether he does the work or not. Okay, that presents an issue with the insurance company that could really come back to bite both of you guys in the rear. Did he provide the insurance company with paperwork, or did you provide the insurance company with paperwork for the work that was completed?
I don't think I did, no.
Okay. Did you recover depreciation on your insurance claim? In other words, after the work was done, did you get another smaller check from the insurance company?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and that went to him.
Okay. So what I'm going to tell you is that what he did is against the law. My suspicion is that he claimed to the insurance company and billed the insurance company 100% of the replacement cost value of your work, and did not do all of that work. Because if he hadn't done that, then you would not have gotten that second check. So because he was in this trying to make up for your $6,000 deductible, he went down a rat's nest that, number one, could wind him up in jail. The insurance company, if they knew about this, they would be coming knocking on your door, and they would have big issues about how all this went down. It is, unfortunately, this happens. Unfortunately, there are so many unscrupulous contractors out there who do not explain all of these things to folks, and there are companies that go down the door, say, don't worry, knock on the door, don't worry about your deductible, and we'll throw in a big screen TV. We know this stuff goes on, Tammy, but it is illegal, and unfortunately you got drawn into that by a contractor who is willing to do business this way. Okay. If I were you, I would give him every dime that you got from the insurance companies on this, and I would try to wash my hands of him and get as far away from this as you possibly can.
Okay, so go ahead and pay him.
I would pay him every dime that you got from the insurance company. I mean, that work that you're talking about, the shed and the screens and things, I mean, you're talking about a couple $1,000s, right?
Yeah, it's around $1,900.
I would absolutely give him that money to where, at the very least, you can prove that you paid him every penny that you ever received from the insurance company, and you know, that way you can wash your hands of him and that relationship, and hopefully this never comes back to bite you on the backside. Now, I will tell you that if you have another insurance claim, they will know what they paid you on this insurance claim, and they will be comparing this insurance claim to the damages that they see on the property, and they will not pay you again for the shed. They will not pay you again for the window screens, and hopefully that's as far as it goes. You know, that they don't go, well, somebody submitted a false affidavit. That's called an affidavit of completion. An affidavit being essentially a sworn statement. The contractor, I believe, submitted a fraudulent affidavit of completion to the insurance company, or you would never have received that depreciation check. And the only reason he did it is because he expected that money to come to him. So it was set up. It was set up to fail from the get-go, unfortunately. One of the things that you might think about doing, you're going to wash your hands, your relationship with him. One of the things that you might seriously think about doing is giving my company a call the first of the week. Let one of my qualified, credentialed inspectors come and look at the work that he did do for you, and just determine that everything is as it should be, your ventilation is correct, and that your roof is going to provide years and years of service for you on down the road. And then if you ever have need of repair or installation services, you'll know who to call. The first words out of our mouth when somebody says to us, I cannot pay my deductible, are, we cannot pay your deductible for you. We can finance your deductible, okay? But we cannot pay your deductible for you. We finance deductibles and out-of-pocket expenses for people, their upgrades. That is part of our contract, and that legally meets the requirement of the statute that you pay your deductible. An executed finance agreement legally meets the statute where you don't have the money to write a check. And that's the only way it can legally be done.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. I wasn't even aware of my insurance policy and the deductible before I filed the claim.
Yeah, I understand, and unfortunately that's another part of it. Is it's one of the reasons we tell people, let us come out and inspect. Number one, if we tell you to file a claim, we're going to know that it's legitimate, that you need to file a claim, and we're going to be there to support you every step of the way. But the other thing we're going to do before you file a claim, we would have asked you, could we see your insurance policy? Are you aware you have a $6,000 deductible for wind and hail? Did you know that you have these exclusions on your policy and these things will cost you approximately X? See, we would have told you all that before you ever filed the claim, and we would have walked you through. This is what we can do to help you from the standpoint of financing the deductible or whatever else you're going to need to do, but this is the only legitimate way for this to go down. And unfortunately, people don't get that kind of counsel. Unfortunately, there's some people don't want that kind of counsel. They just want to, you know, they want to act like these laws and rules and everything that the insurance company is trying to make happen right now don't happen. But it is happening. We're being asked by insurance companies to prove that someone paid their deductible before the insurance company will either release depreciation or consider a supplement request on our behalf. You know, so that's where we're at now, and you know, you'll know better next time, I'm sure. But feel free to call us 877-7663. Carly, my daughter, sweet as can be. She'll understand what you're going through. One of us will jump on your roof, just make sure there's not anything that needs to be addressed right now while you're still in warranty with this guy. Once we tell you everything's exactly the way you want it, we want you to wash your hands of this.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your being transparent with me. Thank you.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Thank you for the call, Tammy.
Thank you. Bye.
Well, Scott, I was going to say, well, let's go ahead and answer the trivia question, but Ben just got on the line.
I was getting ready to call out for Ben.
So, Ben, are you here to... Now, this is only an hour-long show, and we only have 5 minutes left, so... Are you there, Ben? Okay, apparently Jacob's still talking to Ben.
Oh, okay.
So I'll tell you what. Let's take the wind out of Ben's sails.
Okay.
And just the trivia question was.
Let's see what did Ben say, Jake?
He's getting ready to try that trivia question.
Okay. All right. Well, all right, Ben.
Lay it on us, buddy. We're running out of time.
I'll give you the two biggest ones.
Okay.
Roof decking and ventilation.
There you go.
There you go.
Those
That's
are
it. Ding, ding, ding.
Those
ding,
are
ding.
two of the biggest ones.
Ding, ding, ding.
Others are going to be chimney crickets, chimney flashing, wall flashings, ice and water membrane, drip edge, ventilation. Oh, he said ventilation. Tapered insulation or insulation of any type on a low slope roof. So those are the biggies. And yeah, Ben, good deal. And Ben, you're gonna get a couple of those things taken care of on your roof, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think the deck is okay, but it's the ventilation and
flashing. Ventilation, ice and water, and flashing on yours, I believe.
Yes.
All right, bud. I appreciate you.
All right.
I appreciate you guys. I missed the first 15 minutes of your program.
Well, that's why I repeated the trivia question, just so that you could hear it. And now it's storm time.
Thank you.
All right. So after the storm.
Well, and we're going to say that we're not there yet, but we're getting close. Okay.
To the end of storm season.
To getting close. So I think that. The big hail and the likelihood of that, we're on the down slope right now.
I hope so.
We do hope so. But that being said, there are folks within 100 miles of Oklahoma City that need to have their roofs inspected. We've got a lot of folks who we're doing our outreach through our universe of people in our database and getting inspections and people scheduling stuff, doing a good job. And then we have people calling Carly all the time, scheduling out in advance as well. So that's great. But you need to be proactive about this after this storm season. Once we get into the heat of July, the winds have kind of died down. We're wishing we had a little bit of wind for a change, that kind of thing. Great time to have us out to do a qualified inspection on your roof. Let's take a look at it, understand exactly where you stand, what kind of condition is the roof in, are there any repairs that need to be made to now get you through next winter, okay? Because we changed. Now we're talking about the next cycle. And if in fact you need to file an insurance claim, there are reasons that you want to do it now instead of later. Okay. When I say to schedule your inspection in July, maybe in August, the reason we say that is we know we're going to get a lot of heating now. We're going to get a lot of thermal activity in that shingle. There are going to be a lot of things in the way that hail impacted that roof that will be much, much more evident in July or August after the summer thunderstorms. The heating and the supercooling that takes place breaks all that granule away, and those hail hits now are very, very, very noticeable for us and an adjuster. So call Carly 877-7663 and schedule your inspection for after storm season. Every roof, commercial flat roof, steep slope roof, should be inspected by a qualified inspector after storm season.
After the Storm, brought to you by Roof RX, the prescription for your ailing roof. Okay, Scott, we don't don't have enough time to get back into the credential warranty discussion, but you did show me that
another time.
that I know that for a fact that McRoof.us is a select shingle master, and this thing here says that is the top 1% of the profession. That means you're in the top 1%.
Yeah.
All right, so I have to tell you before we go, the lawyer is texting me madly that S&CM LLC, doing business as McRoof.us, legally operates under Oklahoma registration number 8000002, and that the registration applies to both residential and commercial roofing. Dad's wisdom.
Values aren't values if you weigh the cost of honoring yours.
Okay. This has been McRoof Talks Insurance on KOKC. I'm Rick Allen Lippert. He's Scott McCollum. Scotty McCollum will be joining us again next week, as will running man Eric Yandel. Stay cool today.
Don't stay warm.
Stay cool.
Have a great week,
we'll
everybody.
See you next week.
Thank you.
KOKC, Oklahoma City.
The Tyler Media Station, entertaining you since 1965.
95.3